I have a confession to make. I think about quitting all the time. At least once a day, I ask myself whether I should just quit my business, wrap it all up, and go back to being an employee. Because running and growing a business is extremely difficult. And when the results don't come in as quickly as you would like, it's so tempting to just want to call it quits. However, last week, I came across a book that completely changed my outlook when it comes to going through tough times. The book is called The Dip, and it's by Seth Godin. I love Seth Godin. I've been following his work for, I think, at least 15 years. He is a business and communications genius. And in this wonderful little book, he explains not only that everything that is worth pursuing is hard, also the fact that something is hard is the very reason why you will become successful. Let's get into it. So I'm gonna start with explaining the concept behind the dip. I'm sure that if you started anything new, a new project, a new job, a new relationship, anything new, you will be familiar with the kind of feeling that kicks in after the novelty of it wears off. And the thing that you started becomes to feel more difficult. You lose the momentum that you had at the beginning, and suddenly everything becomes heavier and messier and just like so much more difficult to go through. While the beginner phase is exciting, you're improving and learning quickly, and maybe you have a little bit of that beginner's luck, after you get going, you hit a slump. And Seth Godin calls that little bit the dip. And it's the crucial phase between being a beginner and being exceptional at what you do. And crucially, it's the place where everyone quits. And in this book, Seth Godin says that the dip is your friend, that we should embrace when things get hard, and that the shortcut to success, whatever that looks like for you, is to persevere through the dip. Lean into it and use it to become one of the best of whatever it is that you're doing. So analyzing the book, I can pull out 3 misconceptions that Seth talks about. The first one is the narrative that winners never quit. The book says that actually you have to quit all the time, but you have to know what to quit and when. So while the curve of the dip has this shape over here, I'm gonna put an image of it over here, the book also talks about 2 other different curves. The first one is the cul-de-sac, and that's French for a dead end. If you imagine the vertical axis being the results and the horizontal axis being your efforts, cul-de-sacs are basically a straight line. It is an endeavor that is not really bringing you anything. It has nothing more to offer you. And it's not bringing you in the direction that you're supposed to be going. You should quit cul-de-sacs. And then the other curve that Seth Godin talks about is called the cliff. So while the cul-de-sacs are boring, the cliffs are exciting but dangerous. In the cliff, the curves look a little bit like this. So it rises and rises, but then it dips at the end. So stuff like bad habits behave like a cliff. Like they are exciting and they bring you in the short term what you want, but then in the long term, eventually they will bring you bad things. You should quit those too. And quitting the right things, quitting the things that are not bringing you towards the thing that you actually want, frees you up to be able to recommit to what's actually worth pursuing. Quitting frees up your energy and your time, which then you can dedicate to the thing that will actually bring you success. Also, the book says that you should quit tactics, but not strategies. So don't change necessarily the direction that you're going if that's the right one, but you should quit all the things that you're doing that are getting in the way of you getting to your goal. What you shouldn't quit is the dip. The dip is a place that you find yourself while you're doing something that is really worth doing. But it's the toughest place to be because you're putting in a lot of work and a lot of time and possibly also a lot of money, but you're not seeing the results yet, which is why quitting the dip is extremely tempting and so many people do it. So the lesson number 1 here is that it's not like successful people don't quit. Successful people quit all the time, but they know what's worth quitting and when it's time to do it. The second misconception is that diversifying is good in business. Actually, the book says that diversifying your focus means that you'll never really be the best at anything. And according to Seth Godin, doing many things decently is less valuable in business than doing one thing but exceptionally well. Focusing on the one thing and learning to be really the best at it is the shortcut to reaping all the benefits of being exceptional at your skill. So the lesson here is that success flows to those who obsess, not to those who diversify. And then the third and maybe the biggest misconception that is detailed in the book is that the dip is bad. That this feeling of frustration and pain that you feel when you're putting in so much work but you're not seeing the results that you want immediately is bad and it's not worth going through. But actually, if you think about it, when things are easy, then everyone will do it. And this is why I don't think, business strategies such as selling PDFs or ebooks are really viable business ideas anymore. Because now there's AI, and AI has made it extremely easy to create content, especially writing content. And therefore these kind of products have become less and less valuable because everybody is able to make them. And so it's much more difficult to elevate your ebook or your PDF above all the other sea of PDFs that are sold out there. The harder the dip is, the more difficult it will be for people to get over it. And so this means that whatever is on the other end of the dip is very scarce, and scarcity is valuable. If you achieve what only few other people have achieved, then what you have is very precious, and people will seek it and pay you possibly a lot of money for it. The condition to successfully go through the dip is to plan for it and be ready for it. The book suggests to basically agree with yourself when you would quit. Rather than quitting in a panic, or rather than quitting just because things get hard, you have to agree in advance what are the conditions that will make you quit whatever it is that you're doing. So for example, if you're in the dip and you absolutely hate what you're doing, then maybe that's reason enough for you to quit. Or maybe if whatever you're doing makes you go into a lot of debt, that might be a reason for some to quit. But don't just quit because the dip is hard and you're getting impatient. And before committing to the dip, consider your motivation and your resources. You have to have a lot of both. Otherwise, you're very unlikely to make it. For example, it wouldn't make a lot of sense for me to commit to being a professional actor. Sure, there's a lot of absolutely positive things that come out of being an exceptional actor and having fame and money and all that sort of stuff, but I don't want that bad enough for me to go through the whole ordeal that is becoming a professional actor. I don't have the time to invest in it, and if I did, I don't want it hard enough. So the lesson here is, just because something is difficult, even extremely difficult, it doesn't mean that it's bad for you. Adversity is your ally. It strengthens your qualities and your skills. And if you're able to push through it and really learn from the dip, it is the very thing that allows you to be distinguishable from everyone else that tried to go through the dip and quit. So I feel like I found this book exactly at the right time, because I am in a dip right now. I started my YouTube channel in November, and growth has been really slow. It can be very, very hard to continue putting out videos every week, even when views and engagement isn't as high as I would hope. But I know that this is a long game. Overnight success doesn't exist. Even when you see actors getting their big break and being internationally famous from what seems to be from one day to another, actually, if you look back at their past, they will see that they probably have years, if not decades, of being rejected time after time after time. And so I feel hopeful of being in the dip, because I know that at the moment I'm still learning so much about what goes into producing a really fantastic video. And what I'm focusing on is getting better a little bit at a time every time that I post a video. And what I really love about the book is that basically it says that it's okay to suck at the beginning. When you're at the beginning of a journey, you're not supposed to be good. If it was easy to be good, then everybody would be successful. It's your responsibility to use the dip to get through your challenges and to learn to be better day after day. I am absolutely 100% confident that continuing to build my YouTube channel is the right thing to do for me, because it leads me into a direction that I really want to take. And if sometimes I find it hard to believe in myself, what I do absolutely believe in is in doing the work, in putting the steps in place and ticking all my things on my to-do list in order to get these videos out. So it is normal and human to want to quit. So I'm really committing to going through the motions and sticking to my commitments, regardless of the feelings of panic and frustrations that I might feel from time to time, especially when things are particularly rough. So if you watch this video, I really recommend reading this book. It's a very short one. It's I think less than 80 pages long. You will read it in one sitting, and I'll leave a link in the description below to get the book. And I would love to hear from you. Let me know in the comments if any of what I talked about resonated with you. Are you yourself in a dip? Tell me about it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you will like the video and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye.